Testing 1, 2, 3. Yep, we're working. We're now live. We'll wait for a few people to come in here. We're going to be discussing industry horror stories, and believe me, man, do I have a few of them because traveling around the country, definitely met a lot of people and ran into a lot of different situations where people have gone through, and I just want to help people avoid a similar situation. That's why this is a PSA, public service announcement. So we'll give it all. We'd like to give it 2 minutes, allow people to get on in here. Then we'll get started. It goes live, remember, on YouTube, Facebook. Good. The other Facebook, it goes live on Facebook fan page. Also goes live on YouTube and Twitter. So keep that in mind. You can find us in all those places right there. We're going to be breaking down some industry horror stories. And like I said, I usually like to wait 2 minutes, allow people to get in here. And tonight I'm going to do something a little bit different. If you want to chime in a story, a horror story or a problem you've had in the industry, I've got a box over here to the right, which is a chat box. And generally, I kind of adjust the chat box afterwards. What's up? How's it going, everybody? And I'll go ahead and I will address some of those things that I see pop up as I move along through some of the industry stuff that I've learned and came across as I traveled. But like I said, I like starting 2 minutes. When you're going to do a tour, stepping through New Zealand and Australia, my son and I were just talking about that, how cool would it be to go visit cleaners and distributors in other countries? I've already done it throughout the United States, and I'm going to be going out again here starting next week. I'll be going to Myrtle Beach, going down 95, and Georgia, North Carolina, and then Florida. And we're going to spend some time down in Florida, especially on the West Coast. So keep that in mind. And also, if you don't mind, listen, when you make a comment here, some of these come from private groups, and like our private group on Truck Mount Forums, Carpet Cleaners Professional. So put your name in it when you make a comment. Like somebody just made a comment there. Let me know when you come near to Charlotte. I sure will. And also their Facebook, that their truck is full of TMF chemicals, and I appreciate that. All right, but like I said, I'm going to do a little something different tonight. I'm going to still do the normal podcast. I'm going to go through this. You'll be able to find this on YouTube. You'll be able to still find it on Spotify, and we're working on Apple. So just kind of bear with us for the Apple. All right, but it's coming together. And I'll be drinking out of my little copper chalice tonight. You can probably hear that too, right? Melbourne, Australia, bring your golf clubs. I played golf today, as a matter of fact. Got up with a few friends, sort of took us some pictures. A beautiful day. It was almost 70 degrees here, and that's unusual in Virginia Beach this time of the year. So we're really pleased with that. All right, well, let's go ahead and break it down now. Industry horror stories. And I made a little list over here, so I'll be referring to this list right here. One last thing I will mention, will be going, when we come back up from Florida, I'm going to stop back in here with my son for a little while, and then I'm going to go up the East Coast. But I don't want to go up the East Coast all the way to Vermont. We'll be going through New York, as a matter of fact. But I don't want to go up east until it's at least, relatively warm. So maybe May. I would think May I'll be going up the East Coast. All right, so let's get started here. As I traveled the country, I came across a lot of cleaners who have been, sad to say, let me say this first. First of all, I came across tons of cleaners, and most situations and experiences were very positive. I mean, everybody was awesome, and I truly, truly enjoyed that quite a bit, And however, as I got to traveling, I started noticing people would have certain tools. They were sitting in their garage or in their shop, and they're gathering a lot of dust, and being inquisitive like I am, I started asking questions, kind of, what's going on here? How come you guys got this stuff and it's gathering dust? It's a $2,000 piece of equipment over there. Should be using it, So I started asking some questions, and, what I found out is there's also an ugly side, and people had horror stories. And I'm going like, and I mean, these horror stories range from anywhere from people being taken advantage of for hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And surprisingly, the very last thing I'm going to mention tonight, a guy who got taken advantage of for millions of dollars. And that person could have been you because he came up with a cool idea. And we'll go ahead and break that down for you. But Sad to say, many cleaners have been taken advantage of by manufacturers, suppliers, distributors, partners, and even other cleaners, you know? But I'm going to start and work my way up from the smaller things that have happened to people up to the larger things, up to where a cleaner who I know, and I'm not going to mention his name unless he wants to put it up here if he's tuned in. He lost millions of dollars, literally lost millions of dollars. Okay. That's pretty sad, isn't it? If you really think about it, you know, these tools are sitting up in there and they're just gathering dust. I mentioned here. And so I started talking to him and I started breaking it down and trying to find out why it's happening, what's happened to them, where they were when these things happened, and what influenced them or what caused the problems. So I figured if I could go ahead and break that down for you guys, you won't have to go through the same problems. And instead of a horror story, you'll have a beautiful story. And everybody deserves a beautiful story, right? So there's 5 areas. 5 areas I'm going to break down. Number 1, buying from other cleaners. Number 2, buying online. Number 3, marketing scams. Number 4, local distributors. Number 5, ideas and inventions. And you kind of know where I'm going. You can see how somebody could lose millions of dollars with an idea and inventions. And there's one that happened in our industry that really hurt somebody pretty bad. All right, now let's start with number 1. And feel free to mention, as some people are coming in here later, don't forget to mention your name because some of y'all guys are posting from the private group and it doesn't say your name. So if you make a comment, say your name and that'll really help. And if you've had a horror story or a problem, feel free to bring it in there and I'll bring it up. All right, number 1, buying from other cleaners. Buyer beware. You know, actually, most cleaners are very honest and you generally aren't going to run into problems with other cleaners. But sad to say, there's a minority out there who are greedy or who are scammers and who will take advantage of people for the almighty dollar, right? Now, where's the first place cleaners go to look? Where's the first place cleaners go to look? Generally, it's Facebook Marketplace in your area, right? But you can usually find some pretty good deals in your own area. So I even check it sometimes, and I can't blame you for checking because we kind of are in kind of an inflationary period, aren't we? And so if you want to save a few bucks, that's awesome. I say go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to be careful. And I'm going to say this a couple times throughout the conversation here or through the podcast. Do your due diligence. I'm going to tell you what, I've always said this, and you probably heard me say it in other videos or on podcasts. When it comes to money, people get funny. So make sure you do your due diligence because it can really cause you a lot of problems. There's no doubt about it. Now, I just say be careful, and if I'm dealing with another cleaner, I either want to know them or I'm going to check out their website. I might check out their reviews, and then when it comes to buying a machine or some tools, I'm kind of look, since it's locally, I can kind of look, see how they treat their truck, how clean it is, how do they look, how do they sound, how do they present themselves, was the tools and equipment, especially truck mounts or something like that or portables, was it well taken care of? Are there any service records? Where did they park it? Think about that because the last thing you want to do is they park it outside and you have freeze damage. That's problematic, right? We all know that a heat exchanger can cost you thousands of dollars, right? And you might be down for 2 or 3 months because some distributors are backed up 2 or 3 months. And that would really suck. All right. So being there local, that gives you the opportunity to go ahead and go out there and look at it. And my general thought on things, I kind of like to say this. I don't know if you agree with this right here, but I found most things that are used, my general rule is it's worth half the price of what it was new. That doesn't mean there aren't some extenuating circumstances where something might be worth a little bit more or a lot more. And really, if you really think about it, it's really hard to overpay for a tool or equipment. Why do I say that? Because you're going to make 100-fold over it. A truck mount can make you millions of dollars. So can you really overpay for it? Maybe not, but it might hurt your pride. So, like I said before, just do your due diligence. You know, that's really, really important. And also I have what I call a 3-strike rule. Got to get a little list here, breaking my 1 through 5 there. I've got a 3-strike rule. And generally, when I'm looking at something used, I remember when I used to buy Toyota Supra twin turbos before that movie came out and destroyed what I was doing. But I was buying Toyota twin turbo Supras, and what I would do is I would buy them at a reasonable price. Because most people didn't know what they were. I'd drive them, modify them, turn around, sell them, make a good profit off of it. So that was a lot of fun, And uh, but however, when I went to look at one, I had what I call the 3-strike rule. And maybe you could apply this to truck mounts or a van. If I found 3 things that were really wrong with something, maybe there was a rip in the seat. Okay, I could probably live with that. Um, maybe there's a scratch in the car. Oh, that's something. Well, maybe it's not idling correctly. That's 3 strikes. And usually I don't buy something if there's 3 strikes. The way I look at it is the universe is talking to you, right? So make sure you listen. I think that's really important. Now, don't forget, you can mention your horror story. I'd like to welcome everybody. Remember, I like to get through these points right here, and then we can discuss things. So, number one, let's go back over number one just briefly. When you're buying from other cleaners, do your due diligence. Make sure there's no freeze damage. Make sure it's been well taken care of, and make sure it's a reasonable price to what you're paying for it. And if the universe is telling you there's something wrong with it, and your gut is telling you something wrong with it, dip. That's just my thought. So do what you want, but remember, at the end of the day, it has to fit you, your business model, and your cleaning style, and your budget. So if it doesn't fit those things, don't let it just sit up in the garage just gathering dust. Okay? So that really hurts you right there. Don't forget also, a lot of these, and you look in the comments here, it just comes up as Facebook user. Half of the people do, because some of you are coming from our private groups. So make sure you put your name when you make the comment. Hey, Rob, this is Jeff Hurley. Okay? You can write that in there, and then I'll know who it is, and then make your comment on there, and I'll be sure to add it in there. Steve Smith, which one? Just bought one and thinking the same thing. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking. Oh, you mean you bought a Supra? I bought the twin turbo Supras. I had a red one. I think I've had 7 of them. I had a red one, a black one, a couple of white ones. MSB. I don't know what MSB stood for, but we called it Monkey S crap brown is what we called it, And then I had one that was very unique. It was a 1998. That was last year they made it. And it was Royal Sapphire Pearl RSP. And I wish I'd have kept that, because it's probably worth $250,000 now. Craziness, huh? But I can't complain, because I took all that money when I sold them, and I invested in my company, and I invested in TMF, my local company, and they've grown substantially. So I can't really complain. Hey, welcome everybody. Appreciate everybody coming in here. All right. So do your due diligence when you're buying from local cleaners. That's number one. What's number two? Number two is pretty in-depth. I had to make a list. It's so in-depth, right? Number two is buying online. We all like to buy online, right? And, that covers a wide gamut, because we buy from cleaners, other cleaners, we buy from suppliers, we buy from distributors, and we buy from manufacturers, right? But, again, buyer beware, because, you can get yourself into some very sticky situations, as you're going to find out right here, where you can be strong-armed, or you can be canceled, or worse. We'll break it down here. So definitely do your due diligence, because remember, you're going to have to even do more due diligence when you're dealing with people online, because you're not there. You might be buying something. I'm in Virginia. I might be buying something in California. And sad to say, I've spoken to a few cleaners who have purchased tools and equipment online, and they pay the money, right? Sad to say, they never get the item. Never get the item. They promise. I know a cleaner was thinking about buying a wand from me, and he said, well, I think I'm going to go elsewhere. I wasn't mad. That's cool. Then he gets back to me, hey, man, you know what, Rob? That guy charged me like $1,000. I don't know if it's $1,000, $1,200, $1,500. Never heard back from him. Cannot get in touch with him no matter what. And I think this guy's down on the East Coast, and this guy's over in California. What can he do? He's basically stuck. So, you know, do your due diligence and be careful. I'm going to say this a couple times right here. Don't use cash apps. Cash apps get you in a lot of trouble. Okay. So if you're dealing with somebody online, let's take a cleaner first. Okay, break that down. If you're dealing with a cleaner online, and to tell you what, there's been a couple of scams. We own TMF, um, carpet cleaning, um, buy sell trade page. That's what it is. Buy sell trade page. TMF, buy sell trade page for carpet cleaners. Okay, and a lot of people got scammed recently. A couple of guys came onto all the boards, and I found out immediately, and I banned him. But he went on the other boards, and he sold people thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And guess what? And tools. He never delivered. It was a scam the whole time. So, if a deal sounds too good and was, you know what? They were all low prices, really low prices. But you remember the old adage, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So you know what I would do is I would ask them to FaceTime me. I want to see that the item is legit. I'd like to see what they're like. I want to see it in action. Nothing wrong with that, you know? So take your time and be really, really careful. All right. So when you're dealing with people who are carpet cleaners, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's other buy and sell page groups, and I see these people, or some of them are still on those pages. Come on now, seriously, they're still on those pages, and maybe the admins and the moderators just aren't keeping up with things close enough, or they're busy running their own company. But we're generally, taking care of things really, really, really quickly, and that's really important. And remember, this is a painful enough economy as it is. Why do you want to compound that? So, yep, and this mentions right here, use your credit card. I was going to get to that. Definitely use your credit card. Cash at me $200. Somebody said $500 tile wand. Cash at me $250, and I'll send it. Yeah, good luck with that, right? Just you have to remember, like I said earlier in the first thing, the universe could be talking to you. If something doesn't feel right, probably ain't right. Really, really important to do your diligence. Okay, so now, another thing you could do is you could ask them for their website address. Read their reviews. See what they're like in the community. I mean, especially on big sale items. And personally, I'm going to kind of check them out no matter what, but check them out really well. All right. So, what about online suppliers? You got to be careful there also. There's a recent wand maker, and I'm not going to mention any names, so don't ask me to say any names anywhere through this whole program. But there's a recent wand manufacturer who sells new wands and some swivel wands and some all kinds of wands, and he's not delivering. He's not delivering, and people are paying, and he'll promises, and they never get their wands. And something else is going on behind the scenes, but I'm not going to mention what that is. That's not none of my business, and everybody's got their own problems, right? But the whole point is, people aren't getting it. And one cleaner came to me to buy a wand. He said, we decided to go there to that guy. I said, that's cool, no problem. Then he comes back and says, you ain't gonna believe this, Rob. The guy kept all my money. Don't pay Zelle. Don't pay Cash Apps. I don't even know much about Cash Apps personally, but don't use Cash Apps. They'll really, really get you in trouble. So now, there's another supplier of wands. He sends the wands incomplete or sends them in parts, and you got to assemble it yourself, and you don't even know that. So make sure that your supplier, agrees to send it together. Maybe take your supplier and go ahead and do the same thing. FaceTime them. Get a feel for what they're like. Look at the wand or the tools or anything that you're buying and make sure that it's complete and it's what they say it is. It's represented properly. And then again, don't use Cash Apps. Use credit cards, because then you've got a measure of recourse. Okay? Another thing you can do is you can check out the seller's website and read their reviews. But sad to say, there's online suppliers who are demanding that you give a review after you've given your money before you get your item. Or if you didn't do that and they send it out to you and you need parts, they say, well, I'm not selling you any parts to give me a review. So, what is that? Think about that for a little while. That's pretty sad. That's strong arming. Don't let anybody strong arm you. And so make sure, but you could be stuck because that person might sell a product, a wand, a tool, piece of equipment, or a truck mount, or a portable anything, and it could be filled with proprietary parts. Something goes wrong, you're kind of stuck. So I think it's really important that you make sure that it is everything they say it is. Call them up on the phone. Get a feel for it. Do they have a good vibe? Do they have a good energy? Or do they sound helpful? Do the reviews have a ring of truth to them, or do they feel forced? You know, Another thing too is I wish more suppliers did that with truck mount forums at tmfshop.net. We use an independent review company. And what does that do? Well, we can't change reviews. We can't remove reviews. Once a review is up, we're stuck with it. And that was very risky for us to do because we realized being you have some people who try to undermine you or who don't like you, they'll take and just go buy a small item and write you a bad review. So I think we have over 7,000 5-star reviews now, and we're a 4.9 average because you can't make everybody happy. But on top of it, I know I've had some people come in and buy cheap items and just write us a scathing review because we can't find them, but we're stuck with it. So, but if everybody had independent reviews, the reviews would be a whole lot more legit. So that's really, really important. And yeah, somebody mentioned here that, that when people have proprietary parts, sometimes they'll charge a lot of money for those parts. No doubt about it. That was Joseph Payas. We do have these hats available. I think they're in the store. Have to ask my son. This one's a little beat up right here because I use it when I'm going out filming and stuff. But yeah, if you want a hat, get up with my son, or it should be in the store, tmfshop.net. All right. Let's see here. Strong arm. Oh, here's another thing too. They can hold you hostage. What do I mean by that? Well, like I said, they're not going to send you a part if they don't want to. Or if you have a disagreement with them, you're stuck. You could be stuck with something they bought or they put assembled or had assembled in China or something like that. And now it's got a proprietary part on it. You're held hostage. And now you got to grovel. You got to beg, please let me have it. So you got to give up your man card or your woman card. Nobody wants to do that. After you're talking to them and you're picking up their vibe, remember this. If they're treating you bad or they're talking about other people bad, that's probably not a good indication that's going to be a good person. If they're talking to you in a disrespectful way in the beginning, before a sale, imagine what it's going to be like after the sale. Yeah. Yep. You're going to get your butt kicked, right? So please be careful. Do your due diligence, do your extra due diligence, and make sure they have good energy. Make sure they're a nice person. Use FaceTime. Don't use cash apps. Use your credit cards. Another thing you could do too is ask what the warranty is. What is the warranty? I had a cleaner said that he bought a wand from somebody else and it came dented up and scratched up. And so he calls the guy up. So listen, man, this thing came beat up. It came scratched up. And I think I'd like to have this fixed. What's my warranty? You know what the guy told him? He said, well, if you wanted a warranty, you should have bought it through TMF. I said, that was painful. That was painful for him, So really, really, really says what that person is like to make a comment like that. You should have bought it from TMF. And the way I learned some of this stuff was because people were calling me up and say, hey, Rob, or they were emailing me, hey, Rob, or text messaging me or private messaging me on Facebook or YouTube or something. Listen, I need a certain part. I said, well, I don't see you in my records. He said, well, I didn't buy it from you. Will yours fit? Fortunately, a lot of things do interchange. So I'm able to help them. But they didn't want to say they bought it from somebody else because they'd already had a run-in with the other person. And by having a run-in with the other person, that person cut them off, canceled. Yep, I don't need your business. There's nasty people. So avoid nasty people. Find out if they're really nasty and stuff. Okay, another thing too is when it comes to buying chemicals, make sure they have MSDS sheets. If they don't supply a MSDS sheet, that opens you up to a lot of liability. Also opens them up to liability, but especially you. If you have the last 5 years, see, I'm so in tune with carpet cleaners all around the world. that over the last few years, a cat has died, a couple of dogs have been very sick, and a bird has died. Birds have very delicate respiratory systems. A lot of guys are going in there and using sodium hydroxide products, spraying up everything with sodium hydroxide, whether it's carpets or tile. If your tile cleaner's got sodium hydroxide in it, please, for the love of God, don't use it inside of a house. Okay? It's made for outside usage. So anyway, a bird has a very delicate respiratory system, and so they die. Remember, this is sent canaries down in landmines. Why? Because their delicate respiratory systems would tell you what's going on down there. All right. The dogs got sick because, they're just kind of walking around on the carpet, stuff like that, to lick their paws. But cats groom themselves, and a cat actually died. So, make sure they have MSDS sheets. And I hate to say it, but there's a lot of suppliers online who do not have MSDS sheets. And anything ever happens and you get an emergency, they're going to come to you, and you're not going to have the information you're supposed to have on hand. All right. All of our MSDS sheets are on all of our products online. All right. Okay. Let's see. What's next? How about, I'm still keeping up with online. A lot of people, when I notice these carpet cleaners who have these products and these machines that are setting up for a while and gathering dust, I said, well, why'd you buy it? And you're not going to use it. I said, well, I watch YouTube and this guy uses it every job. And he's pushing it, saying how cool it is, how great it is. And I bought it, but I never use it. So you have to make sure, like I said earlier, that something fits you, your business model, and your cleaning style, not somebody else. Really, really important to make sure of that. Don't just be influenced by YouTube influencers. Yeah, I know I have a lot of videos out there, but I stand behind every product that I have. And I'm very good about giving refunds if somebody doesn't like what they have. And I stand behind everything with a really strong warranty. But you know what else? I've seen these guys at trade shows, right, who are pushing these machines and pushing these type of tools and stuff. And then they're at the trade shows having beers, getting drunk, and laughing at people who are suckers. Don't be a sucker. Do your due diligence. Okay? Very important. Very important to do your due diligence. All right, here's another one here. There was a truck mount manufacturer where they sell their own reels with their machine. Well, this cleaner didn't like the reel, so he switched out the reels. And he put it online, took a picture of it, and they cut him off. They said, oh, no, you're not going to do that. I'm going, these are reels. It has nothing to do with it. They said, not only void your warranties, but we're not even going to sell you parts. Well, people made a big fuss of that, a big fuss. So strong that they reversed that. Because that was a bigger company. So you can influence it. And that's one thing about TMF. We're very open. And the reason I started TMF in the beginning was because I got ripped off by a truck mount manufacturer. And so I said, you know what? And then I went to other boards and stuff and other groups. Well, I should say boards back then, at forums and stuff. And they banned me off every one of them and said, no, you can't talk about it because they advertise with us. So I made a resolve to myself. I don't care who advertises or who I'm influenced by. People have a right to mention their problems that they're having with their stuff. Even our own stuff, they have a problem. I always tell them, people come in and say, a box arrived and it was all beat up. I'm going like, okay, well, why didn't you just mention to us instead of throwing us on blast? And, right, I went straight downstairs. I'm upstairs in my office right now. And I went ahead, sent out a brand new one. I don't mind. You know what I mean? And another thing, too, is when chemicals get lost with UPS, I just send you out brand new stuff immediately. I do my due diligence. I'm the one who goes over and makes sure that I do the warranty work or the claim work, I should say, with UPS or Federal Express instead of you having to do that. All right? Because I realize that, time is of an essence. You need to clean. You don't have a week to fight that stuff. So I fight it for you. You don't find other suppliers to do that. That really makes a big difference when it comes to it, So all I can say is that when it comes to buying online, do even more due diligence than you do with those in your general area. Really, really important to make sure that you do your due diligence, whether it comes to suppliers, the cleaners, avoid cash apps. Okay. Listen to the universe. If the universe is telling you, hey, this person don't seem like a good person. This person's nasty. This person is mean. This person doesn't stand behind what they do. They're forcing me to do a review. Come on now. That's just wrong. That's wrong, no matter how you look at it. So be very careful. Do your due diligence. All right. 3 more. If you got any more here, you know what? Somebody mentioned franchises. That's going to be good because I'm going to actually bring that up in here. I didn't mention franchises. That's why I said if you got horror stories, bring them up in here. Good stuff in here. So keep it coming. And there's a couple of people mentioned they had a couple of problems with a cat valve from another company. I'll be glad to help you, and I'll address that after we get done here. So let me get through this about 10 or 15 more minutes. I've only got 3 more points I want to bring out here. Okay, number 3 is marketing scams. I want to tell you what, there's a lot of marketing scams. I mean, you see so many influencers, you see so many SEO companies making so many promises. We're going to get your phone ringing. We're going to get you jobs. We're going to get you ranked up super high. You know, you're probably better off to go with a local ad agency because what I've found is a lot of these people are offshoring all their work. So you're getting somebody over in India or something like that. And that gets you into a lot of trouble because there's a communication issue. If it's in the Philippines, there's also a time issue. It's just not, it just doesn't help you. And these people make a lot of promises, get into a contract. A lot of times people will trust these people to build their websites. And when they build their websites, they have they have the rights to their website. Make sure you have the rights to your website and not somebody else. You need some kind of recourse. Make sure you have a good contract. Make sure you cover yourself. Take it to an attorney. That's why a local ad agency is probably better than doing it online through an SEO company. And if they promise you to get to the top of Google, probably aren't going to do that. Or if they are, it's going to take a long time. So make sure you get referrals. Make sure you read their reviews. Do the same thing. FaceTime them, get to know them. Make sure they ain't just working out of some dump. You know, that's another thing too. If you FaceTime a supplier or distributor, the place should be neat and clean. If it looks like the city dump, they're probably going to treat you like trash. Okay. Really important to make sure that you do your due diligence on that. So now these website builders and these SEO people, they will really take advantage of you if you allow them. So, and I've also seen YouTube influencers who are now getting in on it. And then you have other carpet cleaners or people who run forums and groups, and they're promoting their SEO people or their website builders, and they're getting a kickback on it. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting a commission off of something. It's really not. But if they're misrepresenting it and they're making you promises that are too good to be true, then again, they're probably too good to be true, right? So be very careful on that. Here's another area, and that is, you know, usually niche classes. Watch out for niche classes. What do I mean by that? Well, there might be people who are, there's niche services in our industry or diverse services because we're just doing carpet cleaning, tile and grout cleaning, we're doing upholstery cleaning. But then when it comes to all the other aspects, whether it's dyeing, whether it's stone polishing, whether it's duct cleaning, you know, wood floor cleaning or polishing and stuff like that, do your due diligence. Again, because you could be stuck in a situation where they are good at their niche and you're not good at that niche. All right. Or they might hold you hostage where you have to go into a certain group and pay money to stay in there to get more information. I'm not saying that's a wrong thing. I'm just saying at least know what you're getting into. Because what if they decide just to bump that price up on you? You're kind of stuck after that, right? So very important to do your due diligence again when it comes to marketing, SEO, ads. How about third-party referral companies? You know, I really love to mention a name, but I won't. If somebody wants to mention one here, I actually think I might see it here. A third-party referral company. Somebody actually mentioned it here, but I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not going to mention any names. But this guy, remember these third-party referral companies, what they do is they go out and they get these big national contracts. And then like theaters and stuff like that, or restaurants or apartments or commercial buildings, even homes, they'll go out and get these big contracts, right? And then they'll call cleaners, hey, look, man, I want to give you this job, give you this job. A lot of times they never end up paying. Or they take months and months and months, maybe even a year to pay. Come to find out, guess what? These guys are living in mansions. They have $2 million, as I traveled, they had $2 million office buildings that they owned. And guess who paid for it? You paid for it. Suckers paid for it, sad to say. So watch out for third-party review companies. What about review companies? Does anybody know a review company who will take and if you don't go advertise with them, or if you stop paying them to help you get, I want to be careful how I say this so I don't get any legalistic issues. I took 2 master courses in law last year. Just immersed myself in law. Really had a great time. Really enjoyed it. I would recommend anybody doing the same thing. All right, so um, this company right here, which is a major review company nationwide. I don't know about worldwide, but nationwide. So many people use them, especially over in the West Coast. They take and if you don't make your payments or you stop your contract, they will take down your good reviews and leave up your bad reviews. Oh, talk about a strong arm tactic, right? Tell you what I like to do to them people, right? Yeah, it's in here. Some people are mentioning it. They know these two. They know these two companies that I've talked about. These are part of referral companies and there's review companies. They, you know what their motto is? Listen, if you're dumb enough to be taken advantage of, they might as well take advantage of you. It's sad, but that's the world we live in today. So remember these referral companies also. They are giving unrealistic low prices to get the national contract, to win the contract. So they don't want to pay, or they don't pay much, or they pay months and months or years later. As or somebody said here, they chase them down and they end up getting it. So really important to make sure you do your due diligence. Last thing I'd like to mention on the marketing scams, I'm kind of putting all those together there, is mentors. I think a mentor is really good. I mean, I even offer mentoring. A lot of people don't know that, but I kind of keep it on down low. It's in my tmfshop.net. I offer mentoring where I help people be accountable. I help them stay motivated. I help them set goals and help them reach those goals. I mean, I've been around the block of time. I've been in a multi-truck company for 40 years. I don't want to turn this into an ad, but I understand mentoring. But then you've got some people out there who claim to be mentors, and they're not mentors at all. A good indication of a mentor, it's kind of like, what's the best way to say it? Suppose you're going to a gym, right? And you got a small, scrawny guy, right? And he comes over and wants to give you advice. And you know you're doing things right, but he's giving you advice. What are you thinking? Come on, dude. Seriously? You're just not interested, right? But then another guy comes up. He's got a bunch of muscles and stuff, and he's in great shape, six-pack, and he says, hey, look, you're not really doing this right. I used to do it your way, but guess what? When I started doing it my way, I started getting all this, and everything was going right for me. So take advice from somebody who's actually done it. My motto is a mentor should be doing at least $1 million or more a year. Okay. If he's not doing $1 million a year, he's probably not a very good mentor. All right. So make sure that they talk the talk and they walk the walk. All right. If they're not walking the walk, you better walk. All right. Really, really important to make sure that you walk the walk. And, I'm going to add this to marketing scams. Somebody had mentioned franchises, and there are a lot of cleaning franchises popping up everywhere. And a lot of people don't know this, but when you join a franchise, and maybe I'll break this down later more thoroughly in another podcast with somebody who's had I like to add people to the podcast, but I'll maybe break it down with somebody who has been through a franchise. And I get to hear all the stories because I got my finger on the pulse of the industry. I hear cleaners. I mean, we got over 20,000 cleaners in our carpet cleaning private Facebook page for Truck Mount Forums. We've got thousands of people on our YouTube channel. We've got like 100,000 people that visit our forum and study it all the time and stuff like that. And then I get phone calls. I got the store. I go to trade shows. So I got my finger on the pulse. So people share all these ideas with me. So I really get to hear what's going on. So I can really help you not just build your business, be accountable and that kind of stuff, but other people really just don't have their finger on the pulse. And I get to hear about these people who claim to be mentors, and they're just taking advantage of people. They can't even run their own life. If they can't run their own life, they can't run your life. Just that simple. All right. So that's it for marketing scams. Beware. Do your due diligence. Maybe go locally. Make sure things aren't offshored. Make sure you get some reviews, some referrals, and make sure they're legit. Okay? Make sure it's all legit. And be very wary of third-party referral companies. Personally, I won't ever use one. There's no way. Okay? Hey, unless they had a refund policy. If they'll stand behind it, they got a refund policy and it's in writing, I might just do that. I just might do it. But listen, if they're coming at you with hard sell tactics, this probably might not be a good company. And there's nothing wrong with being, you know, I believe in aggressive soft selling, but I don't agree with aggressive hard selling. So you got to be able to differentiate the difference. If you hear somebody aggressive hard selling, get out of there. All right. Number 4 is local distributors. Now, the dynamics of local distributors have really changed dramatically. You might be aware of this and you might not be aware of this. So let's break it down. You know, many of our local distributors have already been or are in the process of being bought up by big equity firms, big hedge fund companies. And what's most important to those people and their corporate boards? Profits, baby. If you ain't delivering profits, they don't want you there. So what do? A lot of times they're firing a lot of the people who understand our industry and hiring just salespeople. They're cutting down their parts, cutting down their repair people. They're sometimes setting up just hubs where you got to go to a hub several hours away, or you got to go to that hub to get a repair done. That could take months. So be careful when you're dealing with your local distributor to make sure that they can take care of anything that's going to happen to your equipment. All right. Or if you buy from an online person, that you can FaceTime that person and they can walk you through a problem. Really, really important. These hedge fund companies are buying up everything, and on purpose. It's almost like they're trying to get rid of the middle class. But you didn't hear that from me because I ain't one to talk. So even these local repair shops, I call up sometimes and they say, oh, look, we're a month behind. We're 2 months behind. We're 3 months behind. How can you survive? You better have a backup truck, backup equipment, backup portable, some type of backup plan. Because I'll tell you what, downtime is a killer. And we're in a race against downtime. That's why that's why I try to back everything up for people as fast as I can. We offer getting our chemicals out fast. We get our tools out fast. You got a problem, I take care of it fast. Really important because I understand as a cleaner of 40 years, downtime is a killer. So, remember, these people a lot of times are on commission, so they don't get paid unless they get a sale. And unfortunately, that leads to them many times overselling people. I'll see somebody go in there and buy a brand new truck, never clean carpets. Maybe they got an inheritance of $100,000, right? And they go in there and they buy everything. They buy, the truck mount, they buy the van, they buy the shelves, they buy the reels, chemicals, everything. Maybe they spent $80,000 or $90,000. Well, now they only got a few thousand, $10,000 left or so to advertise. And do you think they care? No, because guess what? When they want to sell it, they bring it back to them. So they get them coming and they get them going. Pretty bad, isn't it? So do your due diligence. I'm not saying all local distributors are that way. They're really not. There's still a lot of mom and pop operations around. And there's still some good suppliers around or have even been bought by hedge fund companies or equity firms who still have some good people working for them or some good mechanics. Again, do your due diligence. All right? Because guess who it falls back on? It doesn't fall back on them. It falls back on you. Feeding your family, paying your bills. All right? Don't be taken advantage of. And if you need help, you got any questions, you can always ask us at support@truckmountforums.com. Or you can look me up on Facebook, private message me. Be glad to answer any questions for you. All right. Last but not least, this isn't very long, but it's a biggie. This one right here can cost you thousands, hundreds of thousands, and one person even cost millions of dollars. And that's inventions and ideas. So you got an idea, right? You got an invention. Cool. Well, where are you going to go from there? I notice a lot of cleaners, what they do is they'll look for help or they'll look for a partner. But don't forget, partnerships and friendships many times. And I'm going to break that down a little further as we go on here. Or they'll go to fellow cleaners, or they'll call distributors, go visit distributors, or they'll call online suppliers. Stop. I mean, stop right there. What you want to do, this is what I do. I have people call me up all the time, at least a few times. I'd say maybe 5 or 10 times a year, I'd say, right? Owning truck mount forums and everything. And, being a public figure on YouTube and all that. They call me, Rob, I got this great idea. I got this great invention. And I stop them. I stop them right. So stop right there. Don't say another word until I fill out an NDA for you, a non-disclosure agreement. I don't want to know your idea, and you should not share your idea without a non-disclosure agreement. Oh my gosh. I cannot overemphasize. Do not share an idea or an invention until you have an NDA. So important. If you don't have that NDA, you're likely going to get burned, as we're going to break out in here, or as we're going to break down here in a minute right here. I know, and I've done this myself. I've shared ideas with tool manufacturers. I've shared ideas with truck mount manufacturers, only to have them turn around and either copy it or modify it and say, well, that's too bad. What kind of people are they? Sad to say, it does happen a lot. I know another guy who went to a trade show, and he's on our forum. And this is when the forum was really hot back in the day. The forum was the big deal. Right now, it's just a study resource for most people, and it's still active, but nothing like it is for Facebook or now even Instagram or even TikTok. Or we're also on TikTok, and we're also on X, all right, which used to be Twitter. But I know a guy who went around and shared his idea. He was looking for somebody. Listen, I got this cool idea, and I want to try to implement it. What can I do? So he's walking around and he's sharing the idea. And he said, well, man, Rob, nobody was interested. I'm going like, you really shouldn't have shared that idea. Guess what? 6 months or a year later, a tool manufacturer put it into his tool, and now he sells it. And you know what? He don't give this guy any credit, any money, no nothing. Just ripped off his idea 100%. That's so wrong, man. And yet you see this person and you see this tool often, but you don't even know the story behind it. Talk about a story. Travis, you're right. The forum was banging back in the day, wasn't it? Sure was. And you know what? Most things are reciprocal, so watch out, or cyclical. I got a feeling the forum might come back quite a bit. All right. Another guy I came across, he invented a cuff. Shared the idea with somebody. That person made a cuff. Guess what? Took his cuff idea. I know another guy shared a wand idea. The swivel wand, the original swivel wand manufacturer, shared it with somebody. And now it's a popular item, but he probably should have got it patented or something back in the day, and he didn't. And now he's suffering the consequences. Do not share these ideas without an NDA. All right, here's my very last point. There is a carpet cleaner who invented a spinner tile tool. I'm doing my best not to say the name, okay? Yep, there was a ton of professional knowledge, and it's still there. That's why people still research it. All right. So this guy invented the tile spinner tool as we know it. And now there's 3 or 4 brands out there. Anyway, he invented it, and he got a partner. Remember I said early on, partnerships can end friendships? Well, he got a partner, and this leads me to another point. This partner was very religious. People come with me with a fish symbol, and a lot of religion. I'm kind of wary because behind that fish is probably a shark lurking, sad to say. Really, we should be setting the example as beacons of light. And then if people want to talk about it on private, that's fine. But, making a public spectacle, or when I was down in Myrtle Beach, there was a cleaner and he was saying, hallelujah, praise the Lord, hallelujah, praise the Lord. The Lord did this for me. The Lord did this to me. I'm going like, that doesn't sound good. And I didn't tell him that I was even a carpet cleaner. This was a window cleaner, and he wanted me to clean his windows because I know some people down there. And he ended up taking and was just kept preaching and preaching. And it was a turnoff. So you got to use balance. Even when the great teacher Jesus walked around, sometimes he would just use illustrations. If people were interested, he said more. If they weren't interested, he didn't address it. He just kind of left it alone, moved on, wiped the dust off his feet, and moved right on down their way, right? So that's really important. So now let's go ahead and sum everything up. I got it right here. Whenever it comes to horror stories, or whether it comes to the 5 areas, what are the 5 areas? Buying from other cleaners, buying online, marketing scams, local distributors, ideas and inventions, use common sense, do your due diligence. I cannot express enough to do your due diligence. So important. Trust your gut. Don't trust others people's guts. If somebody's out there screaming, this is the best thing, and keeps on doing it, and they're just shills, whether they're on YouTube, whether they're on Facebook, whether they're when you're calling up, you got to make sure everything fits you, fits your niche and your capabilities. It fits your business, your cleaning style, your budget. Do that due diligence. And remember, if something seems to be too good to be true, probably is too good to be true, right? Very important. And last but not least, you want to make sure you check reviews, get references. But I also like to go a step further. And now, like I said, FaceTime the person, get to know the person, check out their shop, see what they're all about. And I've been to some truck mount manufacturers. Their places are dumps. Seriously? Come on now. Been in business for all these years and you can't clean your place up? Really? And you know what? You generally have problems with those type of people. Or parts manufacturers, same thing. You got some people that are on point. All right. And you got some people they're nowhere near on point. So FaceTime, you get to know them, listen to the universe. If the universe is telling you that this is probably going to be a problem person, a problem supplier, a problem manufacturer, it probably is. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed all those points right there. I'll be glad to back my way down here. We'll go through some of these points here. Listen to what do we got? Let's move up here to the very beginning of this. Try to keep this at under an hour, and we are 8 minutes under an hour. Let's see what we got here. What's up, George? How you doing? Glad to have you here. Let's see. Remember when you make a comment to sometimes mention your name, because if you're coming from a private group, your name won't be up here. Somebody said, when you come into Melbourne, bring your golf clubs, Rob. I'm not sure who said that, but my son and I have been discussing about me maybe traveling around visiting cleaners in other countries. And I think that would be really awesome to do. Somebody else mentioned here insurance companies. Watch out for insurance companies. And I also mentioned franchises. I agree with that too. Usually you can get some good references for insurance companies just by asking here in the groups. Okay. And then somebody mentioned my worst mistake was buying into a franchise. Got him started, but it hurt him in the long run. Couldn't agree more. Giving away a lot of your money. But I'm not saying all franchises are bad. You got to make sure the franchise fits you and has all the benefits that you want. I like this. Somebody said, you buy cheap, you buy twice. Ain't that the truth? So true. And somebody said here, they said they bought a Supra, Steve Smith. Which one? I just bought one and I'm thinking about the same thing. Tell me who that was. Joseph, Indiana. How you doing, Joseph? I can't mention the name of the franchise. I see it up here. I'm not mentioning people by name and no companies, nothing like that. Keep that in mind. Old man, love these messages. Thanks a lot. I don't know who said that because this says Facebook user. Let's see. Yeah, we prefer you to buy things from us. And there's also another guru here. Somebody says stay away from that person. Not going to mention name. Let's leave it there. Let's see. Use your credit card. Never use a debit card. Yep. Don't use cash apps. Couldn't agree more. It's always good if you can buy from somebody locally. I agree with you. If you can buy in your local community from somebody, see it, feel it, touch it. Just make sure that it hasn't been exposed to freezing temperatures, got bad heat exchangers, got good service records. Somebody said here, Joseph, pay us. Even larger companies have some proprietary parts that are astronomically priced. Yeah, you want to think about that. Really important. Swashbuckling Scallywag. Thank you, Rob, for all you do. That's quite a name right there. Swashbuckling Scallywag. I like that. That's very unique. And somebody asked about the hats. Yes, the hats are available. You're welcome to. Let's see. Make it easy. Stick it to the guys to give the best customers. Stick to the guys to give the best customer services. Not a lot of companies do it like TMF does. I appreciate that. Thanks, Joseph. Appreciate that a lot. Let's see. Somebody said, "Can I call somebody out?" Hey, whatever you do, that's up to you. I can't say that. So somebody said they're buying their products now from Wacer in Bentley, Western Arizona. That's correct. Australia. We now have a distributor and a supplier now in Bentley, Australia. That's awesome. So appreciate that. Somebody said here they couldn't get, I'm not going to mention the name, a truck mount proprietary 165-degree over temperature valve from anyone in Australia. Contacted Justin. He refused to send me one direct. Oh, I didn't mean to say the name. Oh my gosh. That's horrible. That's really horrible. Joseph Payas, I know who you're talking about for the YouTube influencer. Okay. I told you I'm not going to say names. Let's see. Corey, I'm really sorry to hear that, man. Let me know next time. I can maybe be able to get it for you. I won't be at Nexus, but I think my son will be. But I will be at the Tennessee Experience Trade Show. Wife and I are looking forward to going down to Tennessee. Looking forward. I think it's the beginning of April. So if you guys can make it, love to see you there. I'm scrolling down through here. Yeah, if you're dumping a whole lot of water, Corey, that's horrible, man. I hate that. Jonathan Clemens, you absolutely take care of us at TMF. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. We try really hard. And Joseph Payas mentioned their third-party referral company. I'm not going to say who it is, but you make a great point there. Let's see. Joseph Payas, if there's a contract, make sure you can get out of it. True that. Needs to be an exit ramp and shouldn't be annual. 30 days is standard. I like that. I like that a lot, Joseph. That's good stuff. Keep them coming, guys. Let's see. Digital creator. Let's see. Laughing my ass. Oh, laughing my A off. Rob, I love it. Throwing more shade than a tree. That's funny. I'll go give you credit, Joseph. That's funny. This is amazing. Great job, man. Thanks. I appreciate that. Let's see. Vac Collector 03. I recently got a jug of Groutmaster to boost BioPro 10K, and I was shocked at the results. Really good stuff. A lot of people don't realize how good Groutmaster works with BioPro. It is the most synergistic when it comes to BioPro. I mean, people just say it's amazing. Stefan Urkel mentions a third-party company I'm not going to mention. Said that they give out their overflow. They don't give out their overflow. They don't have the overflower. They're actually just giving you, they're a third-party referral company, just so you know that, okay? You had to chase them down for your payment. Good luck. It's really amazing you even got it. A lot of people don't get their payment, sad to say. Had a third-party company get me for leads. They used their own phone number to advertise on your behalf. They didn't tell me they were doing this. Once I found out they were gone. That's brutal, man. That is brutal. That's theft. Joseph Payas says a lot of these big companies who have been bought out by hedge fund companies, big distributors, been bought out by hedge fund and equity firms. Good point here. He said they've shifted to restoration and concrete. Yes, they have. I don't know if they don't care about cleaners, but you're right. It's just not as profitable. That's what it really is. JC Spotless Carpet Cleaner. Thank you for the advice, Rob, from Monterey, California. You're welcome, my friend. I didn't know, Corey, that you're a qualified mechanic. Yeah, they definitely should have helped you out. That's just really wrong what they did to you. Somebody said certain truck mounts. No, I didn't have my problem with that. I've had problems with every truck mount, even the ones that are manufactured for me. I have to double check everything. Sad to say, it's really sad, but that's just the world we live in because not everybody is on the ball. Courtney says, I invited the screen and recoat, and now everyone's taking his idea, and I'm not surprised, my friend. Somebody said, remember, guys, if you're making a point here, remember, a lot of you guys coming from a private group, and that will not put your name up here. Put your name up here. Somebody said, Unchained is fire. Appreciate that. Swashbuckling Scallywag says, this is all great info. Cool. You know what? I wish I had some info like this when I first got started. I made a lot of these mistakes, if not all of them, So I want people to learn and not make the same mistakes I made. I learned from the school of hard knocks. It's better to learn and live than live and learn. Live and learn is painful. Ask me how I know. Thanks for all your advice last week from Kevin about synthetic and natural carpet testing. Rub your knuckles. I like that. Yeah, if it's hot, it's synthetic. Good possibility. If it's not, it's natural. Yep. I've been using that all week. Tim Warden, what's up, Ted? Tim, I'm glad to hear that worked for you, man. Good stuff. Express Carpet Wash. Thank you for looking out for the little guy. Hey, man, you know what? I was a little guy for a long time myself. So I'm still only 180 pounds. Not a big guy. Swashbuckling Scallywag says, laughing out loud. I like my name too. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. Jim's Carpet Cleaning, Sydenham. We need TMF suppliers in Australia. We now have one. Message me for it. I'll be glad to have him get up with you. He literally just got all his stuff. It just got to him. All right. Where else is he live on? JC Herrera. Who do you mean? Where else is he live on? Would that be me? I'm not sure. Matt DeSalva. When is the next Nexus? I don't know. I'd have to ask my son. 'Cause I know my son is going. I think it's before the Experience Trade Show, though. Between now and the trade show. So might be March. But you can always email us at support@truckmountfarms.com and we'll get you the answer. We got a really good support team. You know how, let me tell you how our support team works. Our support team works where you email in, that opens a ticket. When it opens a ticket, you've got the first line is the receptionist, stuff like that. And they're all trained in cleaning. They go ahead and they try to handle it. They can't handle it. They move over to Ed the mechanic, and Ed the mechanic tries to work on it. If that doesn't work, goes over to my son. My son can't handle it, comes to me, and then I'll call you personally and work it out for you. So see, we got those tiers and those layers to help you stay on track and keep on working. Really important. JC O'Hara, I think it's a Facebook group. Okay. Tyler Moss, Robert, I'm looking at adding a Cymex for commercial carpet cleaning via encapsulation only for commercial. Hey, I'm a big fan of encapsulation for commercial CGD on concrete. I'm not a big fan of using it inside of a home. No, it should be the last resort. And even if you're using it for commercial, Tyler, remember, carpet warranties, you have to do every fourth clean has to be a hot water extraction to get it flushed out of there. Very important to keep that. Now, how would you think a Cymex would do on a 500 square feet of Mexican restaurant carpet? I personally, Tyler, myself, is I would buy something like a Vibe instead of a Cymex. We sell them both, but the Vibe is so much more versatile. You can do so many different things with it. I wouldn't limit myself to a one-trick pony. That's what a Cymex is. We have Cymexes, we have Vibes, we have Life Machines, we have Orbots. I have everything you can think of on hand, right? But all my guys go for the Vibes or the spray boards. That should tell you something for encapsulation, especially only 500 square feet. That's overkill. Have you ever tried to lift one of those suckers? The advantage of the Orbot products is the weights come off. So it's very portable. The portability, mobility, also be able to get around things. You can throw the weights on it if you need it from the Mexican restaurant. You can go back and forth. I would definitely take it over a Cymex. My Cymex just sits, gathers dust. Let me tell you where a Cymex is really good, and that's for a rug pit, a rug bath. Love it for that. Love it for that. All right. Let's see. How do I remove your ads, Rob, when I'm watching YouTube? My wife started screaming when she watches those videos. The guy washing his head using wastewater. Oh, Lord. I forgot that was up there. Oh, my gosh. I don't know what to tell you, Andre. I don't handle none of that. My son does all the marketing. And you know what? I can't even believe everywhere I go on the internet, I'm being tracked practically. I see all my own. I'm tired of seeing my own stuff, man. You know? Okay. Somebody said here, Rob, you tried. I've never tried. I'm not a fan of using fabric softeners because, you know, I don't think they're just really good for you or in the environment. I like just a good defoamer powder, not a liquid, but a good defoamer powder. You're just spending too much money. A powder just costs you pennies. We sell a product called X-Foam. You just sprinkle it. And I also don't sprinkle it in traffic patterns. I only sprinkle it based on the outsides. That way I can keep it going through there. All right. Somebody asked the question here, is the I don't want to mention the name of the school, but it's a big school. Want to know, is it worth it? To me, no. Now, for carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, tile and grout cleaning, no. Spot cleaning, no. Where it might be good And where they put their money in times, like the big hedge fund companies, they're putting their money in restoration. So restoration, mold, bio cleanup, yeah. Other areas, no, I would not spend. That's me. That's my personal opinion. In my opinion, I'm welcome to my opinion. I would not get it. A lot of cleaners don't get it. These companies have, some of these schools have millions and millions of dollars, and you have to get recertified every single year. Look, you already learned it, and no, and they don't do any advertising to homeowners or commercial buildings. Nobody knows who they are. Why can't you take these millions and millions and millions of dollars you have in the bank and give back to us? At least we give back to people. Good Lord, we're just a small company. So that kind of pisses me off, to say the least. All right. Max Rays, what's going on here? Well, you just missed Max. It's a mouthful. It's industry horror stories, and I broke it down. You're welcome to see this on YouTube. You'll see it. You can listen to it on Spotify, and I broke down how 5 areas: buying from other cleaners, buying online, marketing scams, local distributors, ideas and inventions, how people have gotten ripped off. There it is. There you have it right there. Okay. Softener works as an emergency depending on the brand. Yeah, I'm not saying, Corey, it doesn't work, but if you got a defoamer powder, it costs you pennies. So you can get the customer's defoamer, her softener, I guess, if you had to. But you know what? I find a lot of times the softener is what's on the floor or detergent in front of the washing machine causing the problem in the first place. So I prefer the powder one. Is February your worst month too, Rob? I would, you know what? Winter months are always slow. I like what what's his name? Shane Dubell came on. He said everybody cries in the winter. They don't got no jobs, and then they're crying in the spring and summer when they got too many jobs. So, and I hear that every single year. It's been that way since I've been in the business. Hard times come and go, winter times come and go. It's just how it is, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. Or pick up some commercial work. Commercial work is really good. And you know what else is good in the wintertime? It's rugs. Rugs and commercial work could get you through it. All right. Swashbuckling Scallywag says clients love to use soap or over-the-counter products on their carpeting. So true, man. So true. Resolve. Hey, they get that all over the carpets. Next thing you know, you got a foaming mess, right? Terrible. You're right. It attracts more dirt. It takes longer to clean out. I learned more from the TMF forum than I did from the IICRC course. They haven't done anything for me, and I'm not paying money per year for nothing. Cleaners do whatever they want regarding procedures. Yeah, true that. It's kind of sad because great concept. And the guy who started it off, one of them schools 30, 40 years ago, he had a fantastic concept. But like everything else, politics get involved, greed gets involved. And as I said at the very beginning of this, and I'll close with this right here, when it comes to money, people get funny. So be careful with your money. Spend it wisely. Don't become a horror story. Avoid some horror stories and continue to prosper. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this live podcast. Next week, I'm going to have a special guest. I'll be announcing it somewhere around Monday or Tuesday. And we're going to be talking about travertine. Anything and everything you ever wanted to know about travertine. And a lot of cool things. I'm talking about the history of travertine, where it's at, what you can do with it, all kinds of cool things, how you clean it, how you seal it, how you polish it. We're going to break down travertine next week. We got a special guest, so watch out for that. Well, I'm Rob Allen with Truck Mount Forums. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Look us up on YouTube. Go in the live section in there. You can see them. This is our number 6. This is our PSA, public service announcement, horror stories in the industry. I'm Rob Allen with Truck Mount Forums. Everybody, have yourself a great night.